Oh, yeah? I'm sorry. I was in...
Oh, that was good. Oh, that was so
Sorry.
Some comedy bloopers are funny, but these ones were so chaotic, the actors literally could not finish filming. We're talking about stars breaking character, scenes getting destroyed by laughter, animals ruining perfect takes, and one moment where Channing Tatum secretly gave Jonah Hill a massage on set. But the wildest part, some of these mistakes were so good, they became more memorable than the actual movie scenes. And if you think those were hard to film, the next few bloopers get even worse, because this is where the actors stop pretending and completely lose control. From Meryl Streep suddenly breaking character, to Channing Tatum turning a serious scene with Jonah Hill into total chaos, these are the comedy movie bloopers that became so funny, the actors could barely finish filming. Sometimes the best moments in a comedy are not even in the script. They happen when the actors lose control, when one tiny mistake turns into a room full of laughter, or when a simple line becomes impossible to say with a straight face. And in these movies, the camera is kept rolling long enough to capture some truly unforgettable behind-the-scenes disasters. It starts with Julia Roberts, whose laugh in one famous scene was completely real. Richard Gere managed to make her break so naturally that her reaction became more charming than anything the script could have planned. She tries to stay in the moment, but the laughter takes over, and suddenly the scene feels less like acting and more like two people genuinely having fun on set. Megan Fox had a similar problem while filming This Is 40. The scene was supposed to move forward normally, but the line became too much for her. She starts talking about how she would put floodlights on someone, then immediately loses her focus. The second the laughter begins, everyone knows the take is gone. She apologizes, tries to recover, but the moment has already collapsed into a blooper. In The Hangover, some scenes were almost impossible to get through. Ed Helms had one of those moments where the line itself was already ridiculous, but saying it out loud made it even worse. He tries to deliver a comment about a sad bachelor-style wine weekend, but he cannot hold the expression. The laughter sneaks in, then fully takes over, and the take falls apart. Then there was Zach Galifianakis. His energy in The Hangover was so unpredictable that even simple scenes became dangerous for the rest of the cast. In one take, someone asks if he is really going to wear what he has on, and before the scene can even continue, the actors start cracking. Zach tries to reset, but the damage is done. His timing is just too strange and too perfect. Another Hangover blooper makes it very easy to understand why Ed Helms and Bradley Cooper could not stop laughing. The scene involves a moment where one character appears to be preparing to pull his pants down, and the awkwardness becomes too much. The actors try to push through it, but once the laughter starts, nobody can make the scene believable anymore. Robert Downey Jr. also had his own moment of complete collapse. During a scene where he asks for a beat, the line comes out in such a strange and funny way that he immediately starts laughing. The energy shifts instantly. What was supposed to be a clean take becomes a reminder that even the coolest actors can completely lose it when a line lands the wrong way. And then Zach Galifianakis returned with even more chaos. In one scene, something about the timing, the reaction, and the physical comedy becomes too much for everyone. He apologizes while still laughing, explaining that something about the moment threw him off completely. The take turns into pure confusion, but the kind of confusion that makes bloopers so fun to watch. Andy Samberg and Adam Sandler also had a scene that was filmed so close together that staying serious was almost impossible. The physical closeness, the exaggerated delivery, and the absurdity of the moment made it clear that neither of them was going to survive the take. One laugh becomes another, and soon the entire scene is unusable. In Just Go With It, Adam Sandler said something that left Jennifer Aniston completely stunned. The line came out so unexpectedly that she had to stop and ask what he had just called someone. It was one of those moments where the joke caught her off guard in real time, and because her reaction was so genuine, it became even funnier than the written scene. Paul Rudd also made his co-star burst into laughter with a scene that was already loaded with awkward comedy. He starts talking about living in a place where unpleasant surprises show up in glasses of homemade wine, then pushes the joke even further with a bizarre comparison about the smell of the house. The line is so strange that the actress cannot hold it together. Sometimes, though, an actor breaks for no clear reason at all. In one scene, the actress is supposed to give firm instructions, telling someone exactly what to do, but before she can finish, she starts laughing out of nowhere. She tries to recover, repeats herself, and attempts to continue the scene, but the laughter has already taken control. Seth Rogen had a classic blooper in Superbad. The scene begins with him trying to stay serious, but the situation becomes too absurd. He says he cannot believe something is happening again, and almost immediately the cast loses control. They try to continue, but the laughter spreads through the scene until it is impossible to keep filming. Another Superbad moment went wrong because of something completely unexpected. Christopher Mintz-Plasse is in the middle of a scene involving money and a list when suddenly something off-screen scares him. It turns out to be a bee. The actors try to keep going, but the panic is too real. Someone teases him for being afraid, but he cannot help it. The scene falls apart instantly. Jennifer Aniston also had her own battle with nature. In one outdoor scene, everything seems fine at first, but then something nearby catches her attention and startles her. She tries to call for Katie, but the laughter and surprise make it impossible to stay composed. The cast and crew react, and the scene turns into an accidental comedy moment. The truth is, filming with animals is always unpredictable. No matter how trained they are, they do not care about timing, dialogue, or perfect camera angles. One scene proves this perfectly when an animal suddenly does something unexpected right in front of the actors. Ricky Gervais reacts immediately, joking that the take is definitely ruined, but also admitting that the moment was brilliant. Jonah Hill's lines in Superbad were so ridiculous that even he struggled to say them. In one scene, he tries to get through a bizarre joke involving a disgusting salad idea, but the words are too much. He looks at his co-star, tries to finish the line, and breaks before he can get through it properly. Of course, Bill Hader had to make the list. His bloopers are some of the best because he often tries so hard to keep a straight face, which only makes the break funnier. In one scene, he has to apologize using a very awkward line. He starts again and again, but every attempt collapses. The more he tries to say it correctly, the funnier it becomes. Steve Carell completely lost it in a scene from Get Smart. The joke involved a childish bathroom phrase, and even though the line itself was simple, Carell could not get it out cleanly. He tries different versions, laughs, resets, and then laughs again. What should have been a quick line becomes a full blooper because nobody can make it sound normal. Anne Hathaway has the kind of laugh that spreads instantly. In one scene, she tries to insist that everything is fine, but the moment clearly is not. Her laughter starts to break through, and once it does, everyone around her begins to lose focus too. Even when someone tries to continue the scene, her reaction makes it impossible. In The Devil Wears Prada, one of the hardest parts for Anne Hathaway was simply staying upright. She had a moment where she had to move through the scene, but something went wrong physically, and the take became unintentionally funny. Her reaction made it clear that the mistake was real, not scripted. Even The Princess Diaries had a famous accident that actually made it into the final cut. Anne Hathaway slips and falls during the scene, and instead of ruining the moment, it somehow makes it better. The reaction around her feels genuine, and the fall became one of those accidental movie moments that audiences remember. And sometimes, even legendary actresses like Meryl Streep mess up. She is known for being polished, focused, and incredibly professional, but even she has moments where the scene gets away from her. One small mistake is enough to break the rhythm, and suddenly the serious atmosphere disappears. But Meryl Streep also knows how to joke around. In one behind-the-scenes moment, she casually pretends she has something shocking to show, and the relaxed delivery makes everyone laugh. It is a reminder that even actors with the highest level of discipline still enjoy playing around when the cameras are rolling. Then in Web Therapy, Meryl has another unexpected moment. She is in the middle of answering questions when something with her clothing suddenly goes wrong. Instead of panicking, she laughs and jokes that she can simply hold everything together. It is awkward, sudden, and completely human. Now, one of the funniest behind-the-scenes moments came when Channing Tatum decided to mess with Jonah Hill. During filming, Jonah is lying down and receiving what he thinks is a regular massage, but then he realizes something feels off. The massage is not very good, and he slowly figures out that the person behind him is actually Channing. The reveal makes the scene instantly hilarious. Jonah explains that he knew something was wrong because the massage felt terrible at first. Then Channing fully commits to the bit, acting like he needs to really get in there. The whole thing becomes less like a movie scene and more like two friends trying to ruin each other's concentration. During the filming of 21 Jump Street, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill created absolute chaos behind the scenes. Takes were constantly interrupted by small mistakes, physical comedy, and random laughter. Even when the crew tried to reset, something else would go wrong almost immediately. Ice Cube also ended up in the blooper reel. His scene was supposed to be intense, with him warning the younger officers about what not to do, but the force of the delivery, combined with the absurd seriousness of the warning, made it difficult to keep a straight face. Eventually, the line breaks down, and even Ice Cube cannot fully save the take. Channing Tatum later cracked up alongside Ryan Reynolds in Free Guy. The scene involved an over-the-top action-style moment where someone declares that it is crime time, but the delivery became too ridiculous to survive. The energy was so exaggerated that the actors could not keep the scene under control. And when it comes to hilarious bloopers, Kevin Hart and Dwayne Johnson are basically mandatory. Their chemistry is built on one trying to overpower the other, and the bloopers prove that their real-life timing is just as funny as the scripted material. In one scene, Kevin tries to continue while everyone around him laughs, but the take is already falling apart. Kevin Hart then makes things even worse during another scene. He admits that he is nervous, and the moment becomes funnier because it feels completely genuine. Someone asks if what happened was real, and the answer only makes everyone laugh harder. The scene has no chance of surviving after that. At least Paul Rudd had an excuse for the strange noise he made in one take. He immediately blames the chair, insisting that the sound was not him, but the timing is so suspicious that nobody is buying it. He tries to explain himself, but the laughter has already taken over the room. In Dinner for Schmucks, one scene completely destroyed any chance of the actors staying serious. The dialogue becomes stranger and stranger, with someone describing a woman as a lioness. Then the reactions get more dramatic, the sounds become more absurd, and the entire take collapses into laughter. Ryan Reynolds has a talent for turning simple scenes into disasters. In one blooper, he starts listing things in a dramatic way, but the timing and delivery go wrong. What should have been a quick line becomes a chain reaction, and soon nobody can stay focused. His lack of timing with Jason Bateman created another incredible blooper. The two are trying to coordinate a physical moment, but one says they are turning left while leaning right, and the confusion becomes too much. They laugh, reset, and try again, but the rhythm is already gone. In another scene, Joe Lo Truglio tries desperately to keep the take alive. He starts with a strange, old-fashioned sounding phrase and tries to continue the performance, but the words are too ridiculous. The cast laughs, he tries to recover, and then the scene breaks again. There is no saving it. Looking at Dwayne Johnson, you might not expect something small to make him break, but in one scene all it takes is one unexpected word, Pam. The delivery lands in such a strange way that he cannot continue. For someone usually known for powering through scenes, the sudden laugh makes the blooper even better. In The Other Guys, Samuel L. Jackson's rushed delivery caused a take to fall apart. The line comes out too fast, the rhythm breaks, and the actors immediately know something went wrong. Instead of continuing smoothly, the moment becomes another blooper. When it comes to improvising until everyone cracks, few people do it like John Cena. In one scene, he builds an absurd backstory around a generic last name, explaining it with complete seriousness. The longer he keeps going, the harder it becomes for everyone else to stay in character. His commitment to the nonsense is what makes it work. Even Snoop Dogg gave us a hilarious blooper. In the middle of trying to act, he reacts to someone off camera and tells them he is busy filming. The casualness of the moment makes it funny because he drops the scene completely and speaks like himself for a second. Justin Timberlake also refused to let Mila Kunis finish a scene without laughing. What begins as a romantic or intimate setup quickly becomes ridiculous because Justin starts joking about how strange the sounds would be in real life. Mila tries to keep going, but the joke becomes too distracting. The more he explains it, the harder it is for anyone to stay serious. Sometimes all it takes is one wrong accent to destroy an entire take. Jason Statham had one of those moments when the way he pronounced a word caused everyone to break. Once the cast noticed it, He line became impossible to say normally. They tried again, but the accent had already become the joke. Jackie Chan went through something similar. A simple word became difficult to pronounce clearly, and the moment turned into a blooper. He tries to correct himself, but the cast reacts immediately. The mistake is small, but because it is Jackie Chan, the charm makes it even funnier. A romantic scene between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt also went completely off track. The scene was supposed to carry tension and chemistry, but both actors started laughing. They tried to continue as if nothing was happening, but the laughter was stronger than the performance. Even when they pushed through the dialogue, the scene kept slipping away. One character says they are starting to feel unwanted, and the other confirms it bluntly. Then the conversation keeps spiraling, with awkward apologies and strange concerns about the set. By that point, the emotional scene has transformed into pure comedy. In Mean Girls, Lindsay Lohan and Jonathan Bennett both broke out of nowhere. A serious line about cheating is supposed to land with drama, but the actors cannot keep the mood steady. The laughter interrupts the take, turning a tense moment into a blooper. Later, Lindsay struggles again after hearing a line in the final scene. The update is supposed to be simple. The good news is that someone did not get run over, but the bad news is that the tire is still flat. The dry delivery catches her off guard, and she cannot hold back her reaction. Even while doing voice work, Steve Carell still completely breaks. In one recording session, he tries to say that the situation is not awkward, but the irony of the line gets to him. He laughs, resets, and then continues with the anti-villain league line. When he finally gets it right, he jokes that he nailed it. In another blooper, it is honestly hard to tell what happened to Jonah Hill. The scene seems normal at first, but then something about the delivery or the setup breaks him completely. He asks if something is code for a problem, and the take begins to unravel. In Anchorman 2, Kristen Wiig could not stay in character. She is supposed to answer simple questions, like naming a favorite food, but her responses become strange and awkward. She apologizes, resets, clears her throat, and tries again, but each attempt somehow becomes funnier than the last. Another hilarious 21 Jump Street blooper happened with Rob Riggle. The scene involved a very over-the-top injury gag, and he played it with such dramatic desperation that nobody could handle it. His commitment to the ridiculous moment made it impossible for the actors around him to keep straight faces. In a Deadpool and Wolverine scene, it is easy to understand why Ryan Reynolds could not keep it together. The dialogue is packed with strange comic book terms, variants, offshoots, and chaotic references. He tries to get through the line, but the absurdity catches up with him, and the take breaks. In The Hitman's Bodyguard, Samuel L. Jackson came up with an improvisation so fast that it caught Ryan Reynolds off guard. One moment they're joking about production not being able to afford a song, and the next, the conversation turns into a random discussion about visiting Compton and Shaker Heights. The improv is so unexpected that Reynolds cannot keep the scene steady. But in another scene, the tables turned, and Chris Tucker was the one who embarrassed himself. While filming Rush Hour, he forgets the line completely, stops in the middle of the take, and starts laughing. The confidence disappears instantly, and the blooper becomes funnier because he knows exactly what happened. Another famous Rush Hour blooper comes from the countless times Chris Tucker accidentally called Jackie Chan by his real name instead of his character's name. He keeps saying Jackie when he is supposed to say Lee, and every correction makes the situation funnier. Eventually, someone reminds him sharply that the character's name is Lee, but even then, he struggles to reset. Bryan Cranston also had trouble staying composed around Aaron Paul in Breaking Bad. Aaron tries to say a line, but he keeps stumbling over the wording. He repeats it again and again, trying to get the rhythm right, and Cranston cannot help reacting. The repeated mistake becomes funnier each time. Even actors as serious as Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix could not keep it together in The Master. The scene begins with strange, intense dialogue, but then the delivery becomes too funny. The actors break, laugh, and encourage each other to try again. Even with their dramatic talent, the scene becomes impossible to finish cleanly. Keegan-Michael Key also made Bryan Cranston completely lose his composure in Why Him. In one scene, the joke begins with a tiny printer, but the real comedy comes from Keegan slowly moving closer and closer into frame. Cranston knows what is happening, tries to hold it together, but eventually breaks. Keegan's timing is too precise, and the physical closeness makes it impossible not to laugh. By the end, that is what makes these bloopers so entertaining. They show the moments when polished actors, huge stars, and serious professionals suddenly become human. A wrong word, a strange sound, a surprise animal, a ridiculous line, or one unexpected improv can destroy an entire take. And sometimes, those ruined takes become just as memorable as the movies themselves. And that's what makes these bloopers so fun to watch. They show us the side of movies we're never really supposed to see, the missed lines, the uncontrollable laughter, the ruined takes, and the moments where even the biggest stars completely fall apart. Now tell me which blooper made you laugh the hardest. Drop it in the comments below. And if you want more behind-the-scenes movie moments that were never supposed to make it on camera, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more.